We started them last week, and we took a little bit of extra time with those squares, and then Miss D finished them off on Tuesday. Today, we're not going to do the overlap. We're actually going to do the surface area. So remember when we talked about if you dipped it in paint and pulled it back out, what would be painted? That kind of idea. That's what we're going to do today. So to start things off, it shows you what a composite shape is. I think we probably got that down now. A composite shape is multiple shapes. So there's one shape right here, another shape right here, and they're connected. So we call that a composite shape. Figuring out the surface area when you painted it. There's different strategies to this. Okay, I'll walk you through a couple simple ones, and hopefully that will help. We'll start off by reading the question, which says there are cubes that are 3 by 3 by 3. It doesn't tell you how many cubes there are. There we go, down here. Hey, so that means every single side is 3 on every one of those little cubes. 10 total. So if you look, the first question says the number of cubes in the object. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then there's 2 more that you can't see for 10 total. On the right side, we have the exploded view where you can actually count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's definitely 10 there. Part B, the number of faces in the decomposed object. This would be the decomposed object, right? Like the exploded view. So if you were to imagine how many faces there are, if there's 10 cubes and each cube has how many faces, you could go 10 times 6 to figure out that total there's 60 faces. That's in the exploded view, right? Like decomposed all apart, there would be 60 faces in there. Each one of those faces has a surface area. Yeah. Because there's 6 faces, so 10 would be the number of cubes, and 6 would be the number of faces per cube. The little slash means per. So there's 6 faces on each cube. If we looked at just one face of a cube, for instance, just this face right here that I'm highlighting in blue, and I wanted to figure out the area of that, I would do length times width. Since it's a cube and we know all the sides are 3, we're doing 3 times 3. And that would give me the area of one face is 9. Awesome. The next thing we want to talk about is the number of overlapping faces. So that's faces that we actually wouldn't see anymore. And we did this exact shape last week, I think on the Friday before the weekend or the Thursday before the weekend. So we've already seen this shape. Overlap is like where the 2 shapes come together, where the 2 squares connect. If we look, for instance, right here, that would be 2 overlaps. Right? There's the top overlap and the bottom overlap. So it'd be 2 overlaps right in that spot. If you were to count all of the overlaps, how many are there? 22. Okay, we're going to quickly just run through that. I'll point with my fingers. It's kind of hard to draw on there. There'd be 2 right here. There'd be 2 more right here, so that's 4. And then down here, that'd be 6. Down here, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's 22 overlapping shapes in there. We did do a more in-depth job of that at the start of 2.6 with this exact shape. So if you don't see all 22 in there, you're like, I don't see how he's getting that. Remember, we went over that 2 days ago or 2 lessons ago at the start of 2.6. So feel free to look back on that if you need to. Awesome. If there's 22 faces that are overlapping, that means that there's 22, that's not what I'm supposed to say, number of unpainted faces. That should say, that's a typo.
Painted.
Should say area of unpainted faces. The area of the unpainted faces, or the overlap, would be the area of one face. One face was 9. times the number of unpainted faces, which is 22. Yeah. Oh, thank you. 198. So those numbers, the 9 and the 22. 9 was the area of one face. 22 was the number of unpainted faces that I had. That's all the overlap spots. Then I'm going to do the area of painted faces. Actually, I don't even like that. I'm going to cross that out completely. Okay. There you go. Area of all faces. Yeah, so if I would do the area of all the faces, we counted that there was 60 total faces times 9, which is the area of just one face. If you put that in your calculator, you get 540. 540.
540?
Yep. If you wanted to then figure out the area of the painted faces, that's as if I took this object when it was all combined together and I painted the outside. I would take the area of all the faces, which is 540. I would subtract the area of the unpainted faces, which is 198, not 90. And that would give me my painted faces total. What'd you get when you put that in there? 342?
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. See you.
What?
Someone in the previous class. He was just finishing a test. So if I then just give you the question and I said, okay, what's the total area of painted faces? Then that's my answer, 342. Again, the way I would tackle that is I would take all the faces, 60, figure out the area of that, and then subtract away the overlap. That's one way to tackle that question. Everything minus overlap. Another way you could tackle this question is to try to figure out how many sides you can actually see, and then just do the area of all those times 9. That would also work. It's just sometimes we miss faces when we're counting shapes like that. Sometimes it's easier to do the overlap. It's up to you and what you kind of envision. Yeah, Joe.
Can you add 22 and 60 together times that by 9?
22 and 60?
Oh,
Yes, I see what you're saying. So you could go 60 minus 22, and that would give you the total number of faces showing, and multiply that by 9. Yeah, absolutely, that would work. So he's saying instead of subtracting areas, could I subtract the number of faces being shown and then multiply by 9? And that would definitely work. Awesome. We'll try another one. This one, I'll try it that way. So the way that Joey was kind of describing it. So it says the number of cubes in the object. Looking at this object, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total things.